Today I'm going to do a little comparison between the Range Rover P38 and the Range Rover Classic. So those who've probably seen this on the channel before, this is the victory car, the one that we put back up in March for raffle. Winner took cash alternative, so we're re-raffling it on Monday, I think the 13th. Someone's going to be winning this one. So I thought, whilst I've got both of them next to each other, let's do a little comparison to find out what similarities are there between the Range Rover Classic and the Range Rover P38, and find out why everyone hates the Range Rover P38 over the Range Rover Classic. There is definitely some like visual similarities between, or similarities and differences between them both. Obviously, I've got the Bordeaux, so this is like everything's colour matched, like bumpers front and rear, whereas this has obviously got the plastic bumpers and stuff. But if we poke our head in through the interiors, just so you get an idea, let's try and get rid of some of this stuff. So I've got obviously the leather interior with the fake wood trim, and the sunroof and the headlining, which has just been done by JGO Headlining. So shout out to Jack over there. So that's a little sort of snippet into what the interior is like in the Range Rover P38. And if we come around to the Range Rover Classic, we have got the teddy bear cloth interior. We have got some bits of bush and all sorts of stuff because we have just taken it on the drive and then we end up down some random lane. But this has got the teddy bear cloth interior. It's the 3.5 litre V8 manual, whereas the Range Rover Bordeaux is a 2.5 diesel. This is obviously the V8 petrol. This has proper wood. So if we have a look here, we have got the proper wood, whereas mine's got the stick on fake wood. So like I say, someone can actually win this on Monday the 13th of July. Someone's actually got a chance to win this for a tenner, which is pretty mad. So myself and a couple of friends have got that competition business that we spoke about before, and someone could either win this or they could take the cash alternative of £10,000. But I thought, whilst I've got them both for a bit, let's do a little video to find out what they're like to drive, if there's any similarities between them both, what the main difference is, and then go from there. Because obviously everyone will be interested to see why everyone loves the Range Rover Classic over the Range Rover P38 and find out why everyone hates the Range Rover P38. So let's grab the keys for the Range Rover Classic and let's take it on a bit of a spin on normal roads, and let's do a little bit of off-road driving, then we'll come back and get the Range Rover P38. So let's take out the Range Rover Classic for a bit of a drive and we'll compare it to the Range Rover P38 in a bit. As you can see inside, it's fairly simple and fairly basic, and there's not really that much to it. We have obviously the manual in this car, which a lot of people don't actually like. A lot of like Range Rover purists would rather the automatic gearbox, but I think there is something quite nice about the manual in this car. And obviously Land Rover started off with a manual, so I can't imagine there to be many manual Range Rovers left on the road, especially in this condition, because this car's absolutely mint. But it's actually quite fun to drive it around and batter it around with a manual box over than an automatic. Although it is a little bit clunkier, and obviously with an auto you've got a bit of a smoother ride. But in comparison to the Range Rover as well, this one's got cloth seats. Obviously you can get these with leather seats, but this particular one has got cloth seats, which is definitely, it's actually quite comfy to be fair, because it's like a light interior. It doesn't get that hot inside, especially at the minute being like coming into summer. It can get quite hot. We've got real wood, whereas mine you've got like the fake stick-on wood. This one on the door cards. We haven't got any wood in the centre console. It's literally just on the doors. These all need to be like varnished and treated at some point. But other than that, it drives quite well. This is a 3.5 litre V8 petrol, whereas my Bordeaux's a 2.5 litre diesel, and they're both two completely different drives, which I'll talk to you about in the Range Rover later. This one you can have a little bit more fun with the manual box, and the Range Rover P38 is a bit more of a wafter. But it would have been interesting to compare the P38 to a Range Rover that was automatic, but it's what it is. This is what we've got. So this is what we're doing. This obviously costs a lot more to run than the P38, being a V8 petrol, especially because you've got to put super unleaded in it, which does add up, especially in today's fuel crisis. But as you can hear, being a V8 petrol, it definitely sounds a lot better as well. Yeah, old school V8, and it sounds amazing. This one doesn't have a sunroof, whereas the P38 does have a sunroof. So on days like today, if you did have a sunroof, you'd probably get burnt heads, to be fair, but it just makes it a little bit cooler when you're sort of airing out the car. But other than that, it's all pretty much similar. They carried out a few similar designs throughout. The window switches, a few other like different dials and instruments. Mine's got a little clock on it as well. This one's got the genuine radio, which mine hasn't, and it's got yeah, it's got a heated fan and cool fan and all that sort of stuff. But other than that, it's not really too much else to say. What we'll do, we'll find a little unmetalled road, and then we'll compare them both, see what they look like down an unmetalled track. So, as well as being good on the road, obviously being a Land Rover, being a Range Rover, it is just as good and just as capable off road. So, we're just down a little unmetalled road, seeing what it's like in comparison with the P38. Obviously, the P38's on air, whereas this is on springs, so slightly different ride. Like I said, this is manual as well, so you've got to work the clutch a little bit more and got to work the gearbox a little bit more. Whereas with the P38, you can just send it on basically. But yeah, this car's a little bit too nice. The thing is with these Range Rover Classics, they're at an age now where they're almost a little bit too nice to go like green laning and stuff. Whereas a P38, because they're cheap and they're cheerful, you can get away with sort of wafting it about and batting it into hedges and stuff. Whereas this particular car, because it's the competition car, it's had like a full restoration, all the bodywork's been done, all underneath's been done. So realistically, not many people use their Range Rover Classic to go off road. And if you have got a Range Rover Classic and taking it off road, like, chances are it's probably a bit of a dinger and it's not worth a lot. Whereas a car like this one, that's absolutely mint. Like roads like this, all right, these are metalled roads, but you wouldn't want to go down anywhere tighter. But yeah, some capability and it's really comfortable to drive. This car, like over a Land Rover Defender or something like that, you've got the space, you've got the comfortable, you've got the comfortability. Is that a word? Comfortability, maybe. So it is definitely a nicer drive driving one of these over a Land Rover Defender. The Land Rover Defender is a bit more clunky, or a Land Rover Series a bit more clunky, a bit more tight. Obviously, these you've got nice teddy bear cloth seats, or you've got the big leather seats. But yeah, it's cool. It is very cool. Although you won't necessarily want to be taking this one off road anyway. Like I say, because it's mint, it's V8 petrol. It'll just cost you an absolute fortune, but it's rather cool anyway. But I think let's go and get the P38 and let's see what the P38 is like in comparison to the Range Rover Classic. So now I'm in my Range Rover P38, and although it's only a step up, it definitely feels a lot different compared to the Range Rover Classic. So in this particular one, there's obviously all stick on wood. So I think the previous owner has just gone too keen on the old stick on wood and stuff. A few more dials, same similar layout to where the window switches are. This one's got the Land Rover clock as well. But it feels a little bit more higher up, a little bit more spacious, I'd say, compared to the Classic. The only thing is, in the P38, because of all the issues that they have, is how I imagine electric car drivers to have like range anxiety. You have like P38 anxiety. Like every time you jump in it, you think, what is going to go wrong today, or what beep's going to come up, or is it going to turn on when you want it to turn on? Is it going to turn off when you want it to turn off? Or the brakes going to work when you want them to work? That's the only thing with the Range Rover P38. Whereas the Classic, it's all a little bit more mechanical. So you just jump in it and just hope for the best. As long as you don't absolutely send it, like it'd be fine. Whereas because this one's got a lot more electrics, you do have that sort of like P38 anxiety. Obviously, the Range Rover Classic's on springs, whereas this one's on air, so a little bit more softer ride, and it's actually a lot comfier. I haven't driven a Range Rover Classic with leather seats, but these leather seats are really comfy, and everything else feels a little bit bigger in here. It feels like there's a lot more space, and you have got like a little bit more ride height. It would be interesting to see the comparison compared to the normal ride height on a Range Rover Classic compared to the normal range ride height on the Range Rover P38, just get an idea on like how high up they are in comparison. Because this one feels a lot higher up, but there's just a lot more to go wrong. And like I say, you do have that anxiety of thinking, yeah, what is going to go wrong today? A couple of little issues I am still having. The brakes are very spongy, and we have had it where the brakes have locked up. So I am like super cautious with driving this car, just because I don't want there to be any issues with like the brakes locking up or anything. Because we did have an issue with a brand new Range Rover Sport, nearly ended up in the back of us, which would not have been ideal. But we spoke earlier, so the roof lining has been redone. I think I've touched on it in a previous video, but Jake at JGO Roof Lining's done all of that, and it looks absolutely mint now, so I'm really happy with that. It was all sagging and it was all mouldy, so he's cleaned it all off and put the fresh fabric on. We've got a sunroof in this one, whereas the Range Rover Classic, the Victory's hasn't got a sunroof. But obviously, there is plenty of Range Rover Classics out there with a sunroof. But other than that, what's the main differences? Other than that, I think the biggest thing for me after driving both is the anxiety. I don't think, like with a Range Rover Classic, for example, we did have it once where we had a bit of a fuel leak and it pissed all the fuel out. What's this guy doing? It had a bit of a fuel leak and it pissed out all the fuel, which was never ideal. Sorry, mate. There's a fucking electric car driver in a rush as always. Um, and that's the only time that particular car's broke down. Whereas, touch wood, this one hasn't broke down yet, I don't think. But you just feel like it's gonna, which is never ideal. But we'll do what we've done in the Range Rover Classic. We'll take it on a little unmetalled road and we'll see what it's like in comparison. Because I said we literally just jumped in them both, so we could get a bit of a feel for how it feels over the bumps compared to the Range Rover Classic, and then go from there. Obviously, there's a lot of more people that are going to like the Range Rover Classic because it's the first Range Rover that was around, and obviously the P38 had a lot of issues because of all the electrics and stuff. But I think after these videos and after doing up the Range Rover P38 and doing a lot more on socials, it definitely seems like a lot more people that are transitioning to like these cars. I think the look's growing on them and stuff like that. And I think people are starting to buy these older cars because they're just not making new cars like they used to. So hopefully it pushes the price up of these. So if you can find a Range Rover Classic out and about for cheap enough, you'll probably do a score out of it. But let's go find some unmetalled roads and let's go see how the P38 compares to the Classic. One quick thing whilst we're touching it, obviously this is a diesel. This costs about £120 to fill up for whatever litrage of tank that is. I think the Range Rover Classic's probably about the same, to be fair, but you do drink fuel more in the Range Rover Classic compared to this because it is a V8 petrol. Although this does seem to drink. I don't know whether anyone else has got a 2.5 diesel. For a diesel, this does seem to absolutely drink the fuel. I don't know if it's because of the weight of the car or what. But yeah, the only thing I haven't tried in this one is the low range, because before you'd remember it was flashing and it was getting stuck in low range. So I haven't actually gone from high range to low range yet, and I won't be trying it today on the off-road route. But let's go find this unmetalled road and let's go see how it compares to the Classic. So now we're off-road in the P38, and the benefit you've got with the P38 onwards, you've got the opportunity to change the suspension height from access to off-road. So flick of the button here, you should see and feel the car. Well, they're not going to feel the car's going up, but we will. We just park it up, hopefully it's going to go into the off-road height. There you go, you can sort of see it. The bonnet's going up, back end's going up, and now we're in off-road height, which you can't do in the Classic, which some people say it's another thing for the P38 to go wrong, which admittedly that is the case, and I do need new airbags, which are being done in the next week or so, because the ones that I've currently got are the original ones from factory. But I'll have to try and put up the specs of the height difference from access to off-road height so you get an idea on the clearance now we're in that mode. But it's mad really, because you're going off-road in this car, albeit it's not like a heavy off-road track, so I wouldn't want to take this down a heavy off-road track anyway, but it's literally like being on the sofa at home whilst going going a, what do they call it? A rat run. Literally just a little unmetalled road. It's mad. You've got all the comfort. The thing that ain't working is the air conditioning or the cooled fan, because I don't think it's actually got air conditioning, has it? Oh, it has got air conditioning. It just don't work. But yeah, we'll send it on. But it is a bit of a honey. I always try and go up this bit here, try not to tip the car. If they can just pan around to the mirror quick, you'll see that Jasmine has smashed off the mirror glass, which is not ideal. So, but I should have gone down to collect that one, to be fair, so we've had some issues with that. But it's quite nice really, just cruise along, off-road. I'm not in low range, like I said, I don't really want to try the off-road or the low range in case it don't come back into high range, because we were having an issue with that back along, and I haven't, since it's gone back into high ranges and there's been no faults, I haven't transferred it back over. But it's like a little Sunday drive really, just cruising along, leather seats, sunroof open, sun shining, off-roading. Lovely stuff. And because it's diesel, it's not using loads of fuel. It's relatively chilled out, isn't it? Got the armrests. Just need a cup of tea now, to be fair. And we'll send it on. But yeah, it's really nice. I think once the airbags have been done, it'll be a lot better. It'll be a lot better for me. Like, gives me a bit more peace of mind that the airbags are just not going to blow out, and then leave me stuck here on an unmetalled road, which would be ideal. But that's the P38 off-road. I don't think there's much else to say about that. We'll knock it back down into the access height in a minute. But let's go and finalise and summarise down with the Range Rover Classic when we get back. So that is a little comparison compared to the Range Rover Classic and the Range Rover P38. Obviously, everyone's got a soft spot for the Range Rover Classic. Everyone will love that one over the P38 just because of all the issues that the P38 has. Obviously, I've got a soft spot for this car because it's my car. But hopefully some of you will have a soft spot for this car, which you can actually win now on Victory. So make sure you get your last minute tickets to try and win it, because one of you can win it for £9.95, which we've already discussed. If you don't want the car, you can take the cash alternative of £10,000. I'm going to be doing some more videos on the Range Rover P38, hopefully going to be taken up to Goodwood if we think it's going to make it. I'm planning to take it to Salisbury Plain as well to do something up there with it, maybe like a little off-road thing on that, but I need to get the suspension sorted first. Once there's some niggly bits done on the P38, we'll be doing a lot more content on it, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If there's anything else that you want to see in particular, obviously let us know, and we'll see you on the next one. Ciao.